Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces, where we talk about watch collecting and horology. Hey, how's it going, Gian? Yeah, Arberg's your favorite Eiley. Yes, Arberg. I promised last week that we would talk about watches and whiskey, and I thought it would work perfectly because it fits into the theme. It's Christmas time and all of the other holidays that we're celebrating this season. So, whether it is Christmas or Saturnalia, you can always give someone a fine whiskey. And in the case of this one, well, actually, the nice thing about whiskey is that if the person is a watch person and they're used to talking about watches, they probably like talking about whiskey because, for example, in this case, it says ILA single malt Scotch whiskey. So, Scotch whiskey is different from Irish whiskey in that Scotch whiskey they use peat smoke to stop the malting process, and that both darkens the um, barley malt, and it also gives a strong smoke flavor. And interestingly enough, Lafroig is also a very highly regarded whiskey out of Islay, and the Botanist gin comes from Islay. A lot of people don't realize that one of the greatest whiskeys and one of the greatest uh, gins comes from the same place. And single malt, what that means is that it is not a blended whiskey. So, like a Johnny Walker or something of that nature, um, you know, those are blended whiskeys. And there's nothing wrong with a blended whiskey. The nice thing about a blended whiskey, it's very consistent. You're always going to trust what you get. You know, a Chivas Regal. There are a lot of good blended whiskeys out there. And blended whiskeys, see, now that's where you start talking about watches and comparisons, right? Because a blended whiskey would be like a nice chronograph with a Value 7750 in it, uh, good workhorse movement, and if they make a nice case for it, all the better. I just ordered a Fortis B42. Um, I must admit, I bought it primarily to make Yip Philip feel nice because the next time I meet him, I want to have a Fortis on my wrist, and I thought a vintage would be the best way to go. And because the last time I was chatting with him, I was talking about maybe getting my hands on a Fortis, and he pointed out I was wearing I was wearing my silver Snoopy at the time. So it's kind of hard to haggle when you're wearing, something with that much flex to it. And he's CEO of Fortis. He's not in, he knows what the market's, value of all that stuff is, and he doesn't want to be taken advantage of. So I thought, you know what? Let me buy myself a Fortis, a vintage one on the open market, and then that way I paid market value for it, and I'm not trying to, play any games. And the next time I meet Yop Philip, I'll be able to, show him one of his company's pieces, legacy vintage piece, and that way show him that I'm paying respect in the most sincerest fashion because money walks and BS runs the marathon. And I am drinking the Arberg in shots or in sips from a shot. This is an old vintage Star Trek experience, Las Vegas. It doesn't exist anymore. The Las Vegas Star Trek experience. Well, vintage science fiction collectibles are probably also something you can give to a watch collector. Jean, I said something about Lafroig. Exactly. Oscar, hey Oscar, Oscar Nunez. Good evening. Eric Mack, hey hey. Warren, hey Warren. Tanya, hey Tanya, how's it going? Hello to everyone. Keep saying hi to everyone, and then we'll go back to talking about Jean's Tanya's here, and I was very lucky to have a chance to have lunch with Tanya when I was in New York a few weeks ago. Pardon me. I see an Arberg. You know ball, Alex. Well, Uncle Tom, Uncle Tacitus. I'm sorry, dear Uncle Tacitus. Um, the beautiful thing about whiskey is that it has also as complicated a hierarchy and legacy and history as watchmaking. In fact, I would. wager that most brewmasters and spirit distillers have watches, personal watches, because they also wanted to know how long things took. I'm guessing to a degree, but the fact is, and I'm not guessing there, is that, like, for example, I was just at the Dusseldorf watch fair, and Bushmills had a stand there, and they were doing bank. They were doing fantastic business. They gave the first shot away, and then you had to buy the rest, and they got their money back out of me. And the first sip they let me have was a 30-year-old, and when you think about things like that, like I said, blended whiskeys are more like the mainstream, like an Oris or a Hamilton or something like that. Chivas is like a Longines kind of thing. Johnny Walker, you can almost say Johnny Walker is Rolex, because they do have a couple at the very high end that are single malts, and they've got some very, very high end blendeds, the blue and the gold and all. You can almost say that Rolex is like that, because but I would say probably Tudor's more Johnny Walker. You know what you're getting. It's going to be a decent experience, and there's a lot of variety in there. Oh, Gene, Arbor. Oh, yeah, we were saying about 10. Arbert's 10, followed by Corey Red and Uge Dolph. Okay, I'm going to hope I didn't mangle that name very badly. Miranda, hey, hey, having a shot of monkey shoulder. Very nice. And that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with the blend. I mean, again, just like in watches, you get Scotch snobs, whiskey snobs. There's nothing wrong with a blended. I mean, I love my blendeds. I love my beers. I mean, I'm currently drinking a Warsteiner. Ah, and I mean, for example, that's also a good Christmas gift. If you don't have the budget to pop for a single malt Scotch, you could buy them a 6 pack of something difficult to get and that they desire. Like, maybe they're into Bavarian Dunkels, and so you go and you get them a 6 pack of a Bavarian Dunkel beer. You can always do cool things with watch collectors, and vice versa. I mean, if they're a heavy duty whiskey collector, you could probably get them a watch. But the problem with getting people a watch as a gift is a very complicated thing, because you don't know exactly what they're interested in. You don't know, because they may be into watches, and you get them a chrono when they're not into chronos, they're into GMTs, or they don't like chronos because they're too busy, or you get them a three-hander and they prefer chronos. Um, the best thing to do with a watch person is to get them accessories. Okay, you could do something like corny stuff. Like, you could get them a corny watch, something like that, right? This is a cheap Chinese knockoff of a Constantine Chaikin. I've actually met the man. Very, very soft spoken, fantastic watchmaker. He let me take photographs of his notebook on the Slim King, which is currently still the thinnest mechanical watch in the world. Yeah, Gene says, I heard good things about Monkey Shoulder. It is good stuff. Hey, Carter, Uncle Tacitus, do I fancy the Lagavulin 16? Oh, yes, sir. Again, we're talking, we're in a realm where once you start talking at that level, there's nothing really bad. I mean, Balvanengi or whatever, no, Buna Haben. First off, you got to get the names down. Mm, that Arberg really is a lovely drop, and makes a great Christmas gift. Now, uh, we were talking about it. You could even stay within alcohol and give a watch person. Like, if you gave them a nice mixer, who doesn't want a nice cocktail mixer as a gift? The nice thing about a cocktail mixer, they may never make a cocktail, but they would like to have something that looks this nice. They can just put it on the shelf next to that, token bottle of whatever alcohol they happen to have. And who knows, it may come in handy. And if not, it just looks nice sitting on the shelf. And this one's from Vienna. It's a Leupold, really high end one, and it was a gift. And so that's the nice thing about cool stuff like this, is that if it's a gift, it's not that much of an extravagant thing. Like I have a business card case that's like yay thick with my initials engraved on it, but my mom gave it to me. Gifts can be a little bit, extravagant personal things that the average person may not buy for themselves, but they would appreciate having. Like get somebody a set of tools to pop open the back of a Rolex, right? You get the kit, and then you can at least, because I'm not a watchmaker. I don't fix watches. The primary reason I have this is so I can open up a Rolex to see if a suspected fake is real, because I have yet to see a fake that passes the movement observation test. The best fakes I've ever seen have had little appliques over the balance wheel to try to camouflage the fact that it's not a free sprung balance. But with the loop, or even better, a microscope, video microscope, which is one of the gifts that I would also suggest getting a watch person, would be a video microscope, right? You can pick one of these up online, like cheap, 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 cheap. And it's just a little video microscope. You can take pictures of your piece. You can, get serial numbers or whatever you need to get from it. And it's something you can give to a watch person, and that they'll not just use for watches, they'll use it for whatever other things that they need high precision imaging on. And then, if staying in the realm of loops, a pocket loop, that it covers the lens. You could carry it in your pocket. You open it up. This one has a light built in. That's a great gift for a watch person. And again, they can use it for other things, threading needles. Who knows, right? Um, Box of spring pins. These are bowed spring pins. Box of spring pins are always a good gift. Little watch tools. You could pick up a high end pin and fork tool for like $12 online, and it has a high perceived value. And to a watch person, this is a great stocking stuffer. Tools, watch tools, a pin link tool. There is blood. That's my blood on the on the tool, because it is pointy, and if you're not careful, you can hurt yourself. But a good uh, pin tool for bracelet links, because a lot of watches still use pin and sleeve. Wristwatch check, wearing my Tag Heuer GMT Carrera 2 skeleton chrono. Love this piece. And it's a pin and sleeve. And it's half length, so it's either a little too tight or a little too loose. And I wear it a little too tight because it's such a big watch. I don't want it swimming around on my wrist. Another thing you can get someone is a caliper. Get them with a carbon fiber or plastic teeth so they don't scratch their watch. And then they can do things like measure lug widths, they could measure thicknesses, they could measure sizes. Gives them an opportunity to have some more variety fun. You could get them something like this one's from Ingersoll. This is just a simple belt pocket watch carrier, right? So when I carry around my World War II 10-second stopwatch, the Jitterbug, Elgin Jitterbug, I can keep it on a belt loop. The chain hooks right into a loop cut into the pocket, and boom, you strap it on your belt. You could carry around your pocket watch, or in this case, stopwatch, in style. Gifts like that. Or even, somebody who's into watches might be into like just nice little craft gifts like blades or things of that nature. D&D dice, um, pens. Get them a nice pen set. Get them a time grapher. Time grapher is a great gift for anybody who owns any halfway decent collection, or even just one or two really nice pieces. A time grapher allows you to pay very close attention to the vitals, as it were, of the watch and do some preventative maintenance, see problems coming before they become real big problems. Even something as simple as a cheap watch stand, you know, like I said, stocking stuffers. You may not know the person very well. Maybe you get them five of them. You know, like that's the thing. The scope of this gift is how many you give them. Let's see, oh, right. This was a gift my girlfriend gave me last or year before, a bag to carry all my straps in. That's a great gift to give somebody because every watch collector's got extra straps, and giving them a little bag to keep all their straps in is a great way uh, to get all those straps out of the way. And then they think, what a cool gift. Then, of course, watch tools, right? You know, you get them a bag full of watch tools. Can never go wrong with a bag full of watch tools, even if all you may do is change batteries in your quartz pieces and change straps on your other pieces, take out links, put links back in. That alone is totally worth it, you know? I mean, this is so tight, if my wrist does swell up, I've got to go and put a half link back in. Uh, Good to have the tools to do it quickly and easily, you know? Watch cases. I've currently fallen more in love with single watch cases because they're easier to pack in and around your stuff. But for the safe, you know, I use a 10 case for my safe. But here, this is a 4 case. You could use it for travel, or you could use it to keep your nice pieces in your fireproof box. But cases cases are a great gift to a watch collector because, again, you're not giving them any, forcing them to choose brands or do taste. You're not buying them a strap, or you because you could buy the straps, buy them an assortment of NATO straps, for example. But cases are a good gift to a watch collector because you can always use a case, and cases don't have any branding. I mean, okay, you could be snooty about cases too, but the average person will be just happy to have, ooh, another case, and I can keep all of my watches in them. Gian, to add, a lot of these whiskeys also started about the same time as watchmakers. Like Glen Scotia was once from 1832, and watch company started in 1832 was Longines. Good point. Well, also, if you think about it, right, the precision tools and semi-industrial processes that allowed people to make distilled spirits in quantity and quality consistently would also be the same amount. I mean, the same period of time where you would have watchmaking, gun making, like I said, semi-industrial cottage industry kind of thing. Because actually, that's how the Swiss watch industry started. English and French watchmakers would have Swiss farmers make watch parts during the winter when they were all cooped up in their cottages. The original literal cottage industry. Glashütte means glass factory, from the original old sense of cottage factory. Malad Sky, hey, long time no see, my friend. Hey, Peter, how's it going? Greetings from Wiesbaden, Germany, my friend. Well, nice to see you, bro. Arberg, McAllen, Langevulin, Lafroy, they all seem to go down easy in the colder weather. Yes, and a toast to you, my friend. And those of you who don't know Peter Katza, he's a photographer, fantastic eye. His stuff, it's always worth watching one of his watch videos. He really is good. Chat here, look there. Oh, Gian, Peter knows his Islay also. McClellan is a Highlander. Gian, Tacitus, Malad saying hi to everybody. I like it that we really do have a community here. A lot of our live people are regulars, and we have nice chats together. I really enjoy that. Boona Haben, yeah, exactly. Dear Uncle Tacitus, gifting a watch person a watch is running on thin ice. You're absolutely right. Yes, exactly. Better to give them something watch related. Like I said, this is my top 10. I keep these guys live in the safe. And it's not the greatest case, but it fits in the safe. You know, I don't. If someone gave me a nicer 10 case and it didn't fit in the safe, I wouldn't use it because that where would I would have to transfer them into the case that fits into the safe. No, but joking aside, if I went if I started doing more, I would probably go to 2 6 case so I could keep them on the 2 shelves. Uh, in because I don't it's not that big a safe. Um, so you do have to think about that kind of stuff when you have a friend who has watches and they may have a safe, you know. So for example, if I went to this kind of case for all of the pieces that I keep in the safe, it would be easier to nest them together. I'd be able to fit twice as many pieces probably, you know. But then again, um, 3 or 4 of these wouldn't be too bad either, and these hold 4. So again, cases, better to give them a case. They can always use a case, or they can always use a pin tool, or they can always use, like I keep a keychain pin tool. It's really a smartphone SIM card poker, but it works as a watch pin tool as well, and it works as a SIM tool poker as well. And I don't often buy Sims when I'm on the road, but sometimes I do. Mm. And I have to switch back over to the Varsteiner in a minute. Um, hey, Chris, cheers and congrats to my new pieces. Yeah, because the thing is that I used to have one of these and then I sold it and I recently rebought it. You know, this is like the third watch I've rebought that I sold and regretted. But the other side of that coin is at least you know what you really like. But I do like this piece a lot. And I mean, I bought the Fortis. Probably a little bit was to make you feel better because I do respect him and I do respect the company a great deal. And I wanted to put my money where my mouth is. Um, but this one I just bought because I really, really just like this piece. It has a lot of wrist presence. It's a big piece. That's why I keep it snug on the wrist so it doesn't flop around and look oversized. Just a nice watch. Column wheel. And this is the watch that made me I won't say the company or the person, but there was a movement company CEO that said that they preferred to have quick set date because you can't have quick set date and travel GMT. And I'm like, biatch. This is a quick set date travel GMT. It's just like an office GMT, but instead of having the GMT hand go in the other direction, the local hour hand goes in the other direction. So you can set the local hour hand on this, and you can quick set the date forward. That's why this is one of the pieces that I'm glad to have back in my collection because there's a lot going on here. It is a horologically significant piece. Column wheel, GMT chrono with travel and quick set, which is very rare in GMT pieces. In fact, my Frederic Constant World Timer's out. And now that I have this back, I think I'm going to do an episode about travel watches and GMTs and talk about those various pieces and do a pre-recorded episode so we have a nice little kind of like watch comparison. And I'm also going to, I've been very remiss because I've just been low energy recently and I just got over being sick. And but I don't want to be remiss to you. And I do have some ideas for some 3 watch collection suggestions with some of my newer pieces, mixing and matching, and some more fun with straps episodes and the like. So, the new year, we'll see some more content from me. Of course, I'll continue to do the weekly live streams, but yeah, I'll get back into the pre-recorded episodes as well and flesh out some of the available content for everyone to look at. Let's see, anything else? Oh yeah, loops as well. You can also get like a traditional rubber cup loop that you put against your eye. I forgot to mention this loop when I was talking about loops. And let me double check any other things to gift. No. um What are your ideas for gifts if you do have any? And if not, I think I'm going to make this a short episode today because I got to put my March issue to bed next week. And it is time for everybody running around stuff. So you let me know if you want to chat some more, but otherwise, we'll close it at the half hour today. Oh, Chris, you're also into brandy these days. I love brandies and cognacs. I really do. I must admit. Excellent for doing martinis. A good, yeah, a good gin. I mean, the botanist is a good gin. And if you, well, in the case of a martini, it's not like a gin and tonic. You're not really drowning that gin in something. And in the case of a good martini, odds are there's going to be very little vermouth in there. And it's okay to have vermouth in a martini. Um, but a good distinctive gin will ride over the vermouth in a nice way. I mean, that's part of the reason you're putting the vermouth in there is to complement the gin. Hey, Samir, Chris, I'm also into brandy. We were saying brandy, and the thing is, brandy and cognac, because cognac is brandy from the cognac region of France. Then you have regular brandy, and you've got VS very special and VSOP. So brandies have as many different distinctions and layers as whiskeys and bourbons. Think about bourbons and think about once you start getting into the distilled spirits world, art starts creeping in and you start getting fantastic beverages, things that, you know, you've got esters of all kinds of interesting things that didn't come. I mean, like raspberry doesn't come from whiskey, but there could be a raspberry ester in there, and all of a sudden, bang, you feel a little raspberry there in the back of your throat or nose as you're sipping that scotch or bourbon, or because you can have those interesting esters and ketones in any distilled spirit. And the more you can trap inside that liquid, the more interesting the beverage tastes. Gian, Tacitus and Alex, is the Lagavulin 16 as peaty smoky as Ardbeg? It's peaty and smoky in a different way. I tried the Lagavulin 8, but felt shortchanged with the 8. Yeah, but if you're just looking to be hit in the face with a brick of peat, drink Lafroig. But it's done well. But that you can chew Lafroig. There's so much peat in that stuff. I used to sell Lafroig to the American military in the late '80s, right around the end of the Cold War, because I was the sales manager for the beverage distributor for Heineken, Anheuser Busch, Robert Mondavi, Gallo, Seven Up, Dr Pepper, and Welch's Grape Soda, and also Grant's whiskey, and also Lafroig, and a couple of other things. And that's where I learned everything I know about. I shouldn't say everything because I drank a lot as a soldier, but I mean, but I mean professionally, I learned it because I actually had to sell it and manage it and deal with it, and so I learned quite a bit about the ways, various beverages and the like. But what that exposed me to as well was a knowledge that it allowed me to enjoy more because it allowed me to learn as much about those industries that would have taken me potentially 3 times as long to read myself through various articles or whatever. The direct access really was useful. But since I also enjoyed those areas, I absorbed it for my own personal benefit. So I can drink a brandy intelligently, or a bourbon, or a rye, or a scotch, or an Irish whiskey. That's the beautiful thing about all those beverages, though, or a good rum. You know, a great rum. Think about some of the fantastic cane rums that are out there. And someone who's into watches or cigars would like a nice distilled spirit. There are cigar people who aren't into watches. I actually know a couple. But if you have a cigar friend, get them a distilled spirit as well. Distilled spirits are a great gift because even if they're not a big drinker, they'll put it on the shelf and go, wow, look at that cool bottle. And then they have something to offer their alcoholic friends that show up. you know. But yeah, there are a lot of things you can give to a watch collector that either are directly involved with watches or not involved with watches at all. Let's see. Gian, a box of spring bars or pins. Oops, I'm just looking at some of the comment queue because it's always nice to see all of the comments and discussions and side people are talking to each other. But Gene was saying a box of spring bars and pins would be a blessing. See, so anybody who knows Gene, you know what you can get them for Christmas or Saturnalia or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or whatever holiday floats your boat. Me, as a I would say fallen Catholic. I haven't been to church in forever, but I grew up Jesuits and nuns and all that other good stuff, altar boy. So I consider myself pretty much Catholic. And so I celebrate Christmas. Oh, and Gene was saying nice hat. Haha. Thank you. Well, it's like I said, this is our Christmas episode, or at least for this year. Um Tacitus, dear Uncle Tacitus, it sure is smoky, Gene, but I say that the Lagavulin has is less complex in flavor, maybe compared to our Berg. Yeah, I would go with that. I would go with that. I do. I like both, but the Arberg, it does give you things to think about while you're sipping it. That's for darn sure. I'll give you that. The strap bag is cool. Exactly. Great gift to give somebody. Oscar McClellan 18 or Glenn Morangi, both great choices. I'll stick to Arberg or Lafroig, says Gian. You'd be happy with both of those. Well, you drink them currently. Tanya and okay, Tacitus, great looking piece, has a very strong presence. Yes, I do. You know, like I said, I'm glad I got it back. I really am, because it is a very, and it even matches the shirt. A hefty watch can work wonders with a wrist that can carry it. You're actually, you know, exactly. And I understand that there are a lot of people going to smaller pieces again, 36 and the like, but a lot of wrists are better off with a smaller piece. There's nothing wrong with that. But some wrists can carry a big piece. Why not? You know, I mean, the biggest piece I have is my Navitimer, but it doesn't extend over the edges of my wrist, so it doesn't look too bad. And I have it on the factory rubber. I really do like this piece. I really do like this piece. And these pieces, you know, that'll be an episode. I'll compare the two because they're both GMT chronos. But they're very similar, but they're very, very different. It would be a good comparison video. I mean, chrono GMTs are their own realm. This is a chrono GMT, you know, this beautiful, you wouldn't think it's a tool watch. It's a chrono GMT. Mono pusher, vertical clutch, column wheel, chrono GMT. Very nice piece, you know. This is just an IWC Flieger travel GMT, but I like GMTs. And the nice thing about pieces like that, you can give somebody straps, you can give somebody all kinds of other things that are related to the watch. So that way you don't have to, you know, put them in a situation that they've got something they'll never use. You know, you give them a watch that doesn't quite fit their style, and then you've wasted your money, and they're gonna be nice about it, but it'll sit in their drawer or their safe. Unless you really, 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 really know someone well, and they've told you 10 times and written it on notes under your pillow that they want a specific model of watch, don't buy them a watch. Buy them a gift certificate for a service at the local AD. Your AD would do that. And even if it turns out it needed a part and extra, then at least they had the bottom cushion. But Yeah, I mean, I would talk to your locally. If your friend has an XYZ watch, go to that XYZ AD and say, "Hey, do you guys do gift certificates?" Especially if it's for service, because the margin on a service, depending on what's good, bad, or indifferent with it, can be significant. Because it just might need to be disassembled, cleaned, reassembled, and oiled, and they're going to charge you 5 to 1,000 for it. So they're happy campers, and they'll give you a gift certificate for that. Or maybe I should look into that myself. That wouldn't be a bad gift to give to somebody. I know some people who could use a service. Although I'm having my daughter's Speedmaster reduced serviced, and I'm going to pay for it. So that's a little gift from me to her. Let's see. Chris, I like watch books, coffee table books, historic watch books, books on brands, etc. Oh, excellent point. Because, for example, I've got A Man in His Watch and Armband Urin right over there. Armband Urin is in 3 languages. Cool book. Good collector coffee table book. But yeah, a good watch book is always fun to have. Or you could get one of those, like little robot things to hold the watch. There are a lot of things you can get somebody that are directly watch related that don't have to involve a watch directly, so that way they can just use it because it's related to what they love. It's You're not trying to second guess what they should be wearing on their wrist. Well, straps, but yeah, you get them a pack of 5 or 10 NATOs. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 in there they'll like. Oh, Tanya, not gifts, but you might have seen on my socials. I have the Hamilton. Oh yeah, see, now you have something nice to wear once in a while, or all the time, depending on how you like it. I'm a wet martini girl, Tanya says. Even with a great gin, having a Plymouth gin 50-50 changed my life. Half gin, half vermouth. Oh, interesting. Well, see, that's the thing. Some people like that interplay of the vermouth and the gin. That's why no matter how much the gin purists want to say, well, I just whisper vermouth or whatever, there's vermouth in a martini. And she says she loves PD Highland Park is her favorite. Ooh, that's a nice piece. Nice drink. Gian, the Lafroig Arberg is where my palate is. It's also a great piece coming from me that I used to sell during the Cold War. Yes, I did. Ah, Gian, I used to be all bourbon. 21.5. Hey, how's it going, 21.5? 21.5 says Arberg is great. It is great. Gian, I used to be all bourbon, but this year after I got operated on for my gallbladder, by chance I went to Edinburgh and I learned about the different types of whiskeys. I'm on the Isla ever since. Well, see, that's the beautiful thing is all distilled spirits have complexity. I mean, even vodka, and vodka by definition should be a neutral spirit. But even in vodka, you've got a lot of discussion and room for debate. And when you start talking about something as complex as a bourbon or a whiskey or a brandy or a rum, I mean, or a tequila, it all is based upon the adjunct grain or the fruit or whatever the source of sugar is. In tequila, it's cactus. In bourbon, it's corn. In whiskey, it's barley. In vodka, purist is potato. Where you get the sugars from to ferment gives the alcohol its character, and then how you age it also. So a lot of various distilled spirits age themselves in wine barrels to get some of those tannins and other things out of the wood into the distilled spirit, you know, because you can get a rum that was in wine casks. You can get a brandy that was, well, by definition, brandy's distilled wine. But you know, the ways that you can prepare distilled spirits opens it up for tremendous collectability and variety, and that's the kind of stuff that watch people go to like a duck to water. Gian, thanks. Okay, a box of spring bars would be great. Exactly. Don't know when you need them. Andrew, hey Andrew, any suggestions for something European that approximates Kentucky bourbon? I would go with a German, well, I wouldn't say approximates, but if you want something that you can, there's a spectrum. You could go with, for example, a schnapps or you know, something distilled from berry juice, and those are very good, very very good, and they're full of esters, and it's more that you feel the raspberry than you taste it with the schnapps or the berries or whatever the various fruits that they're using. Or you could get a German brandy. You know, the mainstream Osbach is a little pedestrian, but they make higher levels within the company, and there are German whiskey companies. There are German distilleries that do all kinds of interesting things. But I would say if you wanted a German stuff, I would go with a high end German schnapps or a Jägermeister. You know, everybody likes Jägermeister. Bottle of Jägermeister is a good gift. But yeah, I would say a schnapps, a really high end, really good schnapps would it'll be completely different, but it'll be as interesting. Or if you want to be safe, play it safe. Yeah, get them a German brandy. You know, doesn't have to be Osbach. It could be something more creative. But yeah, the Germans do have some stuff. But most notably, I would say their brandies and their schnapps are good spirits that you could run your car on. You know, I'm all about peaty. Andrew, you might want to look at Campbelltown single malt Scotch whiskey, especially Glen Scotia or Highlanders like Old Pulteney. Let's hear what Alex has to say. I would say those are all good. See, again, once you get to that level, what's bad? There's shades of better, you know, shades of different, because you can have two great beverages that are completely different from one another. You know, think about a wild turkey versus a single malt. You get a wild turkey 101, you know, and actually they have their own high end stuff, single cask stuff. You can go that high, that pure in that direction as well. You know, so I would say it's like a skyscraper with an elevator. You can get off at the floor that your resources can take you, because you can drop way too much money on something you're going to drink and not have anymore. At least with the watch, you buy the watch 6 months later, you come back, it's still there. But so I don't mind spending on whiskey, but I don't like to be too extravagant on whiskey because it is a consumable. So once I hit like 15, 20 bucks a shot in a bar, that's about as high roller as I want to be. Once I hit 50, 60 bucks a bottle to take home, that's about as high roller as I want to be. Luckily, a lot of those beverages are in that realm, so I'm not really suffering much, thankfully. I have only first world problems. Oh, Malad Sky, I'm all in for Jägermeister, mostly mixed with cold brew coffee. Oh, that sounds interesting. Hagfish, have I tried Carolina? I must admit I haven't, but I should try it, I guess. I'll look for it. Andrew, nice. I would never have thought of German schnapps. Oh, Germans are so known for their schnapps. Now it's clicking in your head, though. You're like, and think about all of the corny German movies where they talk about schnapps. But there are some very good German schnapps out there. So we did blow past a half hour. We're rolling nicely. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on the comments. Like I said, once it starts lagging, we'll bail. But if we keep rolling, I'm going to keep rolling until the top of the hour. So, Gian saying hi to Malad Sky and Hagfish. And if I didn't say hi, Hagfish, earlier, I'll say hi again now. That's right about spending on whiskey. Yeah, it's a complicated issue. It's like spending money on watches, but at least with watches, you still have the watch and you can sell it for some of your money back. Whereas once you sip that whiskey, that money's not coming back in any way, shape, or form. Mm. At least I get the deposit back from the bottle of beer, but that's about it from there too. Whereas a watch, you could get upwards of 80 cents, 90 cents on the dollar from a used watch. And if it's a desirable watch, you can get more than retail. But we do love our watch, I mean, our whiskey and our cigars and such. Because a cigar, some watch people don't smoke a lot, but they would appreciate the occasional cigar. That's something to think about as well. Cigar person will definitely appreciate whiskey. Not all cigar people appreciate watches, but the nice thing about it is if they're into watches, you'll know because they'll have talked to you about it, maybe too much. Oh, but there are a lot of things you can get a watch person that don't involve buying them a watch they may or may not like. That's all. And whiskey and distilled spirits are a great gift, and not just for watch people, and not just for cigar people. Frankly, any male over the age of 40 would appreciate a distilled spirit. And if you know them reasonably well, you'll know which distilled spirit, pardon me, you'll know which distilled spirit that they like because and if you don't, take them to a bar and ask them what would they like to have as a shot and say none of the stupid stuff. I shouldn't say stupid, but none, no flavored stuff. Say, hey, can I buy you a shot of whiskey? And they go, well, I don't drink whiskey. Well, can I buy you a shot of bourbon? Well, I don't drink bourbon. You gonna buy you a shot of vodka? Yes. And then you know where to get them. A little bit of investigation goes a long way. Or let's say they are a cigar person, get them a cutter or a lighter, or get them some accoutrement that they may like. Get them a can of gas if they have a lighter already, and depending on how much money you're willing to spend on them. Get them some fancy matches. I don't know, but you know what I mean. There are things you can get people that are accessories to whatever their hobby sphere is. And in the case of watch people, yeah, everything from time graphers to cases to, like I said, get them a nice cocktail mixer. Doesn't have to be about watches. Um, there are a lot of ways that you can, and the nice thing about accessories is you can go at all kinds of price levels. You can spend $5, you can spend $10. Like I was saying, $10 will get you a pin tool, a good pin tool, one they will actually use. You know, you can get one of these for like 10, $12 online. Cheaper, 9.99. I've seen some places, and it's the kind that if it bends, you can unscrew it and replace it, put a fresh bit in, as it were. So you have a good bracelet tool. You know, People can always use tools, always. And good tools keep you from scratching your watches because the better the tool, the better it fits, the more of a clean grip you can get. You don't slip and scratch your stuff. Good screwdrivers, calipers, like I was saying, you can go and get all kinds of cool tools, all kinds of cool accessories, and they would love you for it. Or, like I said, you can also go parallel. If they own a Mont Blanc watch, they'll probably take some Mont Blanc pens as a gift, you know. And as I was saying, if you get them five of these, that's a halfway decent gift, and they'll use them because who doesn't want to have something that they can store their stuff on, you know? But frankly, a case would be better if they're suffering from storage issues. But the nice thing about a good single watch case is that way they can travel. They have like whatever their casual watch to fly in, and then they have their suit watch for the trade show in the box. And something like this, you can pick up one of these for like 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks on the outside. So, yeah, you can get all kinds of cool gifts for your watch friends, especially a nice bottle of the, a drop of the creature, as they say. And they'll like you for it. Trust me. I got that bottle for my birthday, and it's half empty already. And my birthday was just in October, which actually, in one sense, it shows some restraint because there are times I've been given some really high end booze and it didn't make it the month. That's the big problem collecting whiskey is that since it's a consumable, eh, yeah, you eventually wind up drinking the good stuff or just staring at it, but then that's not fun at all. That's another reason I like watches. You wear the watch, you enjoy it, you spend time experiencing it, you have fun with it. But then I have fun with my alcohol. That's why I try to, be careful of how much I spend. Irish whiskey is the devil's temptation. Says, hey, Damon Stratanthos, I think. I hope it pronounced it properly. And a well blended Long Island is your favorite, says Malad Sky. Tanya, I love Irish whiskey too. Tullamore is my jam. Well, Tanya, Tullamore is my day to day whiskey. Normally, I'll keep Tullamore Dew in the carafe, and that's what I drink. After I brush my teeth with water and I rinse with whiskey, and I usually rinse with Tullamore Dew. Butters, hey, nice to see you. Malad Sky, have I seen the new monthly releases of the Moon Swatch? Yeah, I mean, more expensive, slightly different. I mean, they're milking the cow, and soon they'll be beating the dead horse. But a lot of companies do that, and Omega, they have issues right now. And I have some pieces myself. I love my Silver Snoopy, and I love my Globe Master. I ironically, well, I shouldn't say ironically, but I think my Globe Master's uh, more nicely finished than my Silver Snoopy. Um, but those are great watches. And I keep thinking about getting a Seamaster again, but I have too many pieces. But them turning the crank on the Moon Swatch thing, who are they selling to? They're selling to the mainstream public, right? Let them have a little variety. You know, once they start getting, if they start selling them, I bought a Moon Swatch for like around 300 bucks. Once they start pushing, say, above five, I would say then they're really getting out of hand. Frankly, anything over 350 is starting to really push it with those Moon Squatches because it's not like they've got the highest level of Omega horology in them. They're a Swatch. And what is Swatch? Swatch is a pop culture watch, gives people something nice to wear, reminds people watches are a fashion accessory, all of those good things. I'm not, I, 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 I'm concerned that it may become an issue that they're oversaturating, but let's hope that this is the last hurrah before they calm down and either go to a mainstream selection, like maybe the original 10, or at least space out the releases. Because look at what they did with Speedmaster, like old school $6,000 to $10,000 Speedmasters. They did a lot of that kind of special edition stuff, and you see the occasional one nowadays, but you don't see the plethora that you saw like in say the 70s, 80s. Um, I think, yeah. It's they're running the machine until the print starts to fade on, the stampings or whatever. I hope it doesn't get out of hand, but I can see your concern, and I'm concerned in the same way, because it would be a shame if Omega like really just screwed up and oversaturated, and it lost what appeal it had. So, Tanya, about Highland Park. Gian, Andrew and Alex addressed my question. Didn't know about German schnapps. And asking Tanya a question about Arberg and Highland Park. It's always nice. Gian, the latest Omega diver looks like a Seiko and Longines collab. Ooh, ouch. And Gian's telling Tanya that they'll keep Highland Park high on the wish list. So we are at the top of the hour now, and don't see anything new in the comments. So I'm going to take that opportunity to say good night, goodbye. Have a fantastic week. We're, like I said, we're barreling right into Christmas time and all the other holidays. So enjoy them all with your loved ones. Have a fantastic week. And most importantly, have a great evening. Take care, everybody. Love you all. See you next week.